Thanks for tuning in to this edition of Positively Montana. I'm Hallie Schwinnard. Each week we travel the state looking for stories and people that inspire. Let's begin with the recipient of the 2025 Teacher of the Year.
Well, it wasn't just another day of school here in Power, rather a day of ceremony, because one instructor behind these doors was just named the 2025 Montana Teacher of the Year.
A small K-12 school in a rural setting, Power Public Schools typically only graduates under 10 seniors every year. But that doesn't mean big things aren't happening under its roof, specifically in the classroom of Miss Dawn Severs. Wednesday, this school, along with Mrs. Severs' class, showed up for an assembly they were told would be a safety seminar.
Then I saw my family. That scared me, yeah.
It was State Superintendent Elsie Arnson who broke the news. Miss Severs was to be named the 2025 Montana Teacher of the Year. For Severs, who teaches Spanish, art, and English, it's been 29 years in the making.
I remember very well the fear and the terror when you start teaching and building the confidence up. Now I do get to see the fruits of my labor.
Severs has taught in Power for 28 years, making the school's gymnasium a fitting site for the distinction.
We didn't hand it out at a fancy dinner. We didn't hand it out with a bunch of teachers in the room across the state. We handed it out in the community where the excellence comes from. Oh, how wonderful.
Every student has fed into me, and I have fed into them.
Now, Severs will go on to represent Montana in the National Teacher of the Year competition. In doing so, she carries a torch bearing all teachers that call the Treasure State home.
I feel like I have a responsibility. If I'm I'm taking this position to be a voice, I need to put the work in, take those steps to do a good job from here to represent Montana teachers.
From Power, Owen Skornik-Hayes, MTN News.
Good teachers are hard to find, and sometimes it means special classes like art and music go unstaffed. That was nearly the case in Roundup this year after the district struggled to find a band teacher. But a blast from the past revived a struggling program, and some familiar faces took on the challenge.
Music can mean a lot to many different people. For some it might be entertainment, and for others it could even be an escape. But for one couple here in Roundup, it simply means more. And that's why they've come out of retirement to help the students here.
Same place, 2, 3. Music's always been my first love.
It's been a constant in Peggy and Gary Toombs' lives for years. Music and their passion for it runs deep.
It can make me happy, it can get me over sad times, it fills my soul.
For 40 years, that shared love brought them here. To the band room in Roundup, working together, Gary as the band director and Peggy.
I'm the Band-Aid. I try to fix what's wrong.
A perfect duet for years, but all good things must come to an end. In 2018, they decided to retire.
I had things I wanted to do. Peg and I wanted to do some traveling.
That decision seemed final, or so they
1,
thought.
2, 3, and.
When the school's search for a new band teacher came up empty this summer, students relentlessly found the Toombs in the community.
We couldn't go from one end of town to the other, whether it was to get a donut at the grocery store or a sandwich at the sandwich shop.
And their begging eventually worked.
I was getting donuts at IGA, and the little girl behind the counter started crying. Kind of gets to me. But she said, "You got to come back. When the kids are like that, I'll do it for them."
And so the Toombs are back, though the decision didn't come without its risks. Gary is a COVID long hauler, and teaching is certainly not easy.
It's a lot harder than it was 40 years ago. I don't have the energy that I had 40 years ago.
Thankfully, his Band-Aid has been in full support, this time constantly monitoring his health.
It was a no-brainer. You watched him work with the kids. He comes alive. I can't take that dream away from him.
He's only signed up through December, hoping the school can find a more permanent solution.
And play.
But until then, they're both dedicated to keeping the program alive, one song at a time.
We both love to make a difference in young people's lives. And that's what music can do.
In Roundup, Charlie Kleps, MTN News.
It is often said that children are the future. Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Montana want to make sure that kids have a positive mentor to look up towards as they navigate their lives.
You've definitely heard the phrase, the children are the future.
In the community, most people can see that that our youth are facing a lot of challenges these days, and so we provide a service that can help with that.
It's people like John Hagman of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Montana who are trying to best prepare kids for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, kids are very impressionable, and like everybody else, you know, you've got to show them, they've got to see, you know, the right way, the wrong way, and unfortunately not every child is put in a situation where they have that really strong mentorship.
So Big Brothers Big Sisters don their leis for their annual Bowl for the Kids' Sake fundraiser.
It's one of our fundraisers where we ask people to donate money to go back to Big Brothers Big Sisters.
The money goes towards making matches and vetting candidates, making sure the program is as strong as possible. And the people of Great Falls did not disappoint.
I'm excited to say that this is the biggest turnout we've had since before COVID.
Big Brothers Big Sisters raised over $21,000 for their program thanks to the generous donors and bowlers of the community.
It's just a real inspiration to see so much support from the community and really coming out to support the cause that's really improving lives for kids in this community.
Among the bowlers were Jersey and Kendra. Kendra has been Jersey's big sister for the past 3 years.
It's really nice to have somebody to talk to and rely on and hang out with.
I've seen her come out of her shell when we first started. She was pretty quiet and she wasn't quite as outgoing. She was still pretty outgoing, and now she's very confident and outgoing.
And they recommend anyone interested to try it out.
It's really fun just hanging out with somebody older than you and actually realizing who you are with them and seeing them grow with you is something.
In Great Falls, I'm Tommy Lynch, MTN News.
NeighborWorks Great Falls celebrated the hard work and progress that 10 families have made building their homes and each other's from the ground up.
Families participating in NeighborWorks Great Falls Owner-Built Homes program are celebrating their work and progress on their journey to home ownership and building their 10 new homes.
Through the program, funded through USDA's Mutual Self-Help Program, 10 families dedicate about 30 hours a week building each other's homes, earning sweat equity over the year-long build, resulting in a substantially lower mortgage payment.
I mean, I knew it was going to be a challenging experience, but it's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed everything, and the people are great. The supervisors are very patient with us and very willing to teach.
Marley works as a respiratory therapist, but for a few hours a week with technical assistance from supervisors, she's sheeting roofs, rolling trusses, and siding. Next spring, she'll be a homeowner.
Being on the roof has been my favorite part. I didn't realize I'd like working up there so much. But yeah, doing the sheeting and loading up the trusses and all that, that's been a good time.
This year's group began their build in May and already have 6 houses up, with 2 being completely ready to begin on interior and customization from the future homeowners, choosing countertops, colors, and carpets for their new home.
The coolest thing is you see these people that they don't do this every day. They don't know what power tools are. They don't know how to do whatever task it is we tell them to perform. And by the end of it, they've built 10 homes and they get to see that through all the way to the end.
The completion of the 10 homes in spring of 2025 will mark 185 homes built through the program since 2005 and 185 families who are now homeowners. In Great Falls, I'm Anissa Coomer, MTN News.
Still to come on this edition of Positively Montana, closing roads making way for the Montana Air National Guard. Details on the training mission that had a big plane landing on a very small road. Stay with us.
More stories from the heart of the Treasure State are on the way when Positively Montana continues after this.
Welcome back to Positively Montana. A Montana highway turned into a temporary landing strip for one of the military's biggest planes. And while this may seem a little out of the ordinary, it was all part of a real-world scenario.
Just off Highway 87 here in Cascade County, the Montana Air National Guard held a vigilante landing zone training Wednesday morning.
working on some skills that we need to be able to engage with the next peer that we have, which is China. And so we're working on some stuff with these organizations to prove that we could do this stuff in remote places.
This training helps to equip the Montana Air National Guard with non-routine technical skills to better serve the state and nation during emergency situations.
Places that we'll possibly fly out to in different countries and stuff may not have runways readily available, or during civil emergencies at times we may not have runways available. This helps us to understand with our partners and with the Army how we can land in these austere places and get the job done.
Colonel Green said trainings such as this one are incredibly beneficial to pilots for several reasons, including relying more heavily on situational awareness.
In times of civil hurricanes and stuff like that, sometimes we have to use runways that we wouldn't normally use, and this helps them train for those situations where they're bringing in supplies to people and they're taking out wounded or they're medevacing people. This is a very helpful skill for them.
This was the first time the Montana Air National Guard has conducted a vigilante landing zone training using their C-130H aircrafts in Montana. McKenna Dickey, MTN News.
One mom is proving learning doesn't have to happen in the classroom. Instead, she's offering parents and their toddlers a unique learning experience in the great outdoors of Carbon County.
Whether it's catching minnows or scavenging for treasure, it's all about child-led play here at Backyard Kids in Joliet, finding that balance between technology and the outdoors.
Messes are meant to be made here at Backyard Kids in Joliet.
They have fun and they're tired afterwards, and that's the best thing about it.
Kids are really smart. They know what to do. They know how to play. They know how to learn.
As an occupational therapist for the last decade,
That's called we're going on a treasure hunt.
And a Joliet resident for the past 3 years, Amy Decker saw a need.
In the clinic and the school base, you hear more behavioral challenges and ADHD diagnoses.
And an opportunity for Carbon County families.
Nice, Joe. It kind of sent me down a rabbit hole of why is this? And technology, of course, comes up. But also with that is just the lack of some free play.
Incorporating child-led play and the outdoors to make Backyard Kids.
Say woof, woof, woof.
Then it's more about just facilitating play through the environment set up.
Right now, the program is for kids and parents to do together, using activities like the game Red Light, Green Light.
I saw all of you! Oh.
And catching minnows in the creek by Amy's house.
Playing with different textures and using your hands and your touch and just allowing your whole body to be immersed in nature.
We're constantly trying to find groups of moms that just want to get their kids outside and playing and out of the house and off of screens.
A lifesaver for mom of two, Charlie Batiste Kofer, who came all the way from Red Lodge to participate.
Amy does a great job just coming up with super fun things for kids to do that it's not expensive. You can do it at home. It gives moms a really good ideas.
Giving rural families the opportunity to get outside and play.
It's an opportunity to get messy, and that's the goal here. So kind of gives them a free pass to let it go.
In Joliet, Alina Howder, MTN News.
A Billings nonprofit is lending a hand to the mission of a national book program, ensuring children reach important literacy milestones. Through the Dolly Parton Imagination Library program, parents can sign their kids up to receive free books until the age of 5. The national program was brought to Montana through our state's First Lady, Susan Gianforte. But the program has a heavy administrative lift. So the United Way of Yellowstone County is partnering with more than 60 local organizations to get more books out.
The reality is we'd like to reach every eligible kiddo, but right now we have about 3,700 enrolled, and we'd like to see about a 20-25% participation growth in this next year, and we'll then just continue growing upon that.
If you've been in the heart of Uptown Butte recently, a 20-foot tall rabbit reading a book may have caught your eye. Well, MTN caught up with the artists for a little bit about the inspiration behind the artwork.
Well, if you're a visual artist, you need a canvas to create your work. And right here in the heart of the historic district in Uptown Butte, an artist is using this century-old building behind me as her canvas.
I'm an oil painter, so I work with a lot of washes. So a few parts of the rabbit have washes on them where I take a rag with the pigment and brush it on.
About 25 feet above Broadway Street, Rachel Marjama's mural is taking shape on a stucco wall on one of Butte's beloved bookstores. Rachel and fellow artist Sean Coik have been at work on the 25-foot mural since the beginning of September.
Call me the flower man. I look at the plan that she has, where the flowers go, and I try to mimic her style while she's working on the vines and the rabbit.
Inspired by her previous work in fiber art, as well as the architecture found uptown, and even the bygone designs of old wallpaper found inside of many of Butte's vacant buildings, Rachel says her creation is a nod to the mining city's past, even as it celebrates the present.
I just wanted to kind of mesh that all together with colors I found from around uptown to try and make it fit in with the historical district.
We have so many blank walls here that could use a little beautification, and it's so important to encourage very talented artists to give them a palette to put their beautiful work on.
The mural is a privately funded project. Fran Doran, a Butte resident and art lover, helped secure $10,000 from various donors. And Rachel says the project couldn't have happened without the enthusiastic support of Fran and the building's owner.
It's such a pleasure to be able to do anything I can to help support the arts, especially here in Uptown Butte.
I don't know, there's just really amazing things happening in Butte, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
In Butte, Megan Thompson, MTN News.
Still to come on this edition of Positively Montana, gearing up for the fall with a tour and some history. Details right after the break.
Positively Montana continues after this.
Welcome back to Positively Montana. As temperatures cool and leaves start to change color, fall is in the air, and one of Helena's most popular and spooky fall festivities is back. The Foundation for Montana History's Ghost Gulch Haunted Tours are back.
Children's laughter here in Reader's Alley. A mischievous cat spirit in the original governor's mansion and the ghost of a miner solving his own murder are a few of the stories you can hear on a Ghost Gulch Haunted Tour.
All of a sudden, a sweating madman ran across here from the jail and was close to getting into the house.
The Foundation for Montana History hosts the tours in a partnership with Bert and Ernie's Pub Trolleys. Each tour starts at the Myrna Loy, which used to be the Lewis and Clark County Jail.
Can I be scared by something that's happening in my hometown? But it's also just really fun because oftentimes even our scariest stories eventually lead to people going ooh and then laughing. So it's fun and it's seasonal, you know. You don't need to be scared year round, but when Halloween comes around, you're expecting the scary factor to go up a little bit.
The tours start on September 23rd, but MTN was able to join for a practice ride. Pedaling through downtown Helena, attendees enjoyed refreshments they brought and stories of mysterious deaths and unexplainable situations.
These are ghost stories, these are haunted stories. I think they needed to be rooted in history for there to almost be that credibility of what you're hearing and who could be involved. And I think it just adds to know that these were real people, real places that we're talking about. None of this is made up.
Last year, the tour was offered 3 days a week, but this year, people are able to choose from 7 different slots each week. Tours are 2 hours long, with 1 to 2 breaks, including stops at downtown Helena businesses. Tickets are being sold online through October 18th, but they hope to extend the tours if weather permits.
Part of the fun of fall, in addition to, you know, carving pumpkins and going out to Fall Fest, is the haunted, you know, stories and histories and things you can do. I mean, what's fall time without a scary story?
The Foundation for Montana History estimates that at the time of this story airing, 70% of the spots are already booked. So grab your costumes and your ghouls and get a spot before they're gone. In Helena, I'm Allie Kaiser, MTN News.
With fall comes pumpkin spice and corn mazes. There's a sheep farm and corn maze located in Craig that's open to the public. This year, the ag-themed attraction inspired by a decades-old connection to an American novelist.
Well, hello there, and hello to you. I'm out here in Wolf Creek, feeding some awesome goats and checking out the corn maze. Come along with me to see what this fall has to offer.
After nearly 2 decades, the corn maze has once again opened its gates to the public.
This is our 19th year, something we wanted to pursue to promote agriculture. Then we were directly involved in feeding cattle, and feedlots had a bad rap, and we wanted to show that ag can be fun. And
each year they make a new design in the corn, and this year's design has a great personal history.
This year it's Ernest Hemingway's face. We're celebrating his 125th birthday. We've known the Hemingway family for about the last 30 years. His son and my daughter and I used to hunt together. And just the life of a Hemingway is the story in itself.
There's new attractions as well as the classics.
We also have farm animals that you can buy feed for and feed, majority of them, everywhere from the Winona, the big red Highlander cow, to small pigs, chickens, turkeys, sheep, and a pony. We also sell a lot of pumpkins. New this year is the Trapper's Cabin that's behind us. It's an authentic cabin from way back. It's all restored on the inside and everything.
Located halfway between Helena and Great Falls, the maze is open on Fridays 5 to 9, Saturdays 1 to 9, Sundays 1 to 6, and will continue until October 27th.
My great-great-grandfather came here in 1864, so this Missouri River Valley's home, and when we decided to move, our maze originally was in Vaughan. In the fall, it's a beautiful drive to get here, especially when the colors are here, whether you're coming from Helena, Great Falls. What we would like to say is make everlasting memories.
In Craig, I'm James Rowland, MTN News.
We hope you enjoyed this edition of Positively Montana. I'm Hallie Schwinnard, and I'll see you right back here next week.